Oh, that's better. Got rid of the evidence. What was he thinking? Well, I know he's family, technically. But Chrissy really has excelled herself with this one. Not content with inviting Norman and Mabel, she has to include their devil child, too, whose idea of relaxation is to light up a joint. 40 grand a year for his education Norman pays, and for what? To produce an unkempt, uncouth, unthinking layabout, with a drug habit to boot. Thank goodness Chrissy and I never produced any offspring, if the result is anything like that. Oh, I wish I was down the Jolly Cockerel with Jean and Brian. Game of darts or cribbage. Now, Jean and Brian, they're real friends. Turns out Chrissy didn't invite them. Not for an anniversary, she says. They're just your mates from the pub. Ignoring the fact that they actually own the pub. Yeah, but just as well, maybe. If they were here, well, you never know what might slip out. Oh, has it gone? It can catch you out. You think you flushed it away and then something unpleasant creeps back around the bend. No, it's gone. Norman probably paid for the weed, too. He's loaded and likes you to know it. Oh, you know, if there's one thing worse than people who are filthy rich, it's people who are always telling you that they're filthy rich. He's managing director now, raking it in. And that job could have been mine, should have been mine. It was offered me. The old man, Chrissy's Uncle Walter, said to me, "You've joined the family and now join the firm." Chrissy was all for it, saw the status and the dollar signs, but I turned it down, and she never forgave me for that. Yes, I turned it down. For a woman. For Valerie. And here she is again, after 20 years, still haunting me. Yeah, just when you think you flushed a nasty memory away, it comes creeping back around the bend. I wish I had never met her. But she was the sister of my bride-to-be, so inevitable, really. April 1990 it was. Val had just come back from Italy, worked there for a year. She was blonde and tanned, with a stunning figure. I couldn't get her out of my mind. And Val instantly decided she had to have me, which she did. "Don't worry," she said, "we're sisters. We share everything." But Chrissy and I were planning a wedding, the traditional sort, with only one bride. And when you plan a wedding, it sort of gathers momentum, and before long you can't stop it. I couldn't stop the wedding, and I couldn't stop... My job involved travelling to meet clients. So on many of those business trips, unknown to anyone else, Val used to come with me. Chrissy never suspected a thing. The last person she ever suspected would be her sister. After all, they shared everything, except a sense of loyalty. That's why I turned down Walter's offer, so I could still travel to meet clients and still share a hotel room with Valerie. Bad decision. 10 years we went on like that, 10 years of guilt and self-recrimination and making false promises in the heat of the moment about leaving home and moving in and even having kids. Not real. So finally when... Oh, no, I don't want to think about that. That's one memory I don't want creeping back. Anyway, I decided to end it. Val took it bad. At first, I was afraid she would tell Chrissy. But she never did. Well, not yet, anyway. Poor Val. She really wanted a baby. Maybe I was her last chance. I don't think she's ever forgiven me. So there we are. I've let down both sisters, neither of whom can forgive me for it. So, I spend more and more time down the pub. The Jolly Cockerel, of course, with Brian and Jean. Jean and Brian had this grand plan to turn the Cockerel back to what it used to be. A traditional pub. A proper pub, was real ale, and pies, and darts, and dominoes. Oh, and yes, cribbage. And by and large, they did just that. They had to settle for a pool instead of bar billiards. Skittle Alley never made it, but they created a warm, welcoming place where you could forget your troubles. My place. They're a wonderful couple, Jean and Brian, not just as landlord and landlady, but as husband and wife. They seem in harmony about everything in life. The food, the wine they like, the countries that they visited, the TV shows they follow, the films they watch, the football team they support, everything. And each other. It's so clear. They love each other. About as different from Chrissy and me as you could possibly imagine. So I could hardly believe it when Jean and Brian adopted me as their friend, their real close friend. I used to stay after hours, especially Fridays, and we'd share a bottle of wine on the house, and the talk would move from films and football to relationships and stuff. And I began to get the feeling that there was more to their marriage than met the eye. Then one night, they told me. Theirs wasn't a normal marriage. Brian wasn't really into women, even Jean, whom he loved dearly. But when they first started out in pub management back then, it was easier to get a tenancy if you were a married couple. So that's what they became. I worry about Jean, Brian said to me. I can't give her everything she deserves, and on that, Jean placed both her hands on mine, looked me straight in the eye. "Good night, Paul," she said. I left, but all the way home I kept hearing that phrase, everything she deserves. A week later I was drinking alone when Jean came up to me. She glanced back at Brian at the bar. He was looking at her, and he nodded slowly. "Paul," she said, "come with me. I've got something to show you." I followed her upstairs. I thought I had an idea what was coming, but I was wrong. I had no idea. Oh. It became a regular thing. Jean said we could call it our cribbage night. Cribbage night. So that's when I became a regular cribbage player. It's so natural with Jean. None of Val's bizarre tastes or Chrissy's neurotic obsessions, just genuine affection and togetherness. One night, Brian took me to one side and looked at me earnestly. "Paul," he said, "thank you for making my wife happy." Is that the secret of true love? Doing whatever it takes to make your beloved happy? I sometimes wonder what if. But no, Jean would never leave Brian, and nor should she. Besides, we have a good thing going. I seem to be making 3 people happy, more than I've ever done before. Sorry, just coming. Now please, Valerie, Chrissy, everyone, don't say anything you'll regret or anything I'll regret. I've got a good thing going. Let's keep it that way.